Hello everybody and welcome back to Full Throttle Drive. Thank you so much for joining me on today's video. So obviously you can see behind me I have my 2008 Audi R8 V8, and I wanted to make it's a simple video today, but I wanted to answer something that I get this question a ton, and really it comes down to why did I buy this car? Because a lot of the people that's been following me on my channel for a long time know that I had a C6 Corvette before this, and a lot of them liked that car and they're kind of wondering why I ended up buying this car. And I think a lot of you guys really enjoy this car, especially with this incredible new wrap that we had. We just did a series on this wrap not too long ago, just finished it up, and it looks amazing, as you can see, especially in the sunlight here. But the reason I bought this, and I kind of broke it down into three main reasons of purchasing this R8, and really the first one is kind of the funny childhood dream, but honestly I always had, growing up, cars on my walls. I had little die-cast cars. I loved cars growing up. A lot of you guys that watch my videos, same thing for you. You guys enjoyed cars. You eat, live, and breathe anything that is a car. And so I had Lamborghinis. I really loved Ferraris. But really for me, the moment that I knew there was a car that I wanted was out of Iron Man. A lot of people call this the Iron Man car, and there's a reason for that. And that is because in the first Iron Man, when Tony Stark, Robert Downey Jr., actually is running up to get out of the house, a lot of people were like wondering what was going on with him in the movie. He actually shows up to this like red carpet event, and he's flying through traffic in his Audi R8, and it is a V8. It was right when this car first was coming out, and people could not believe what was going on with Audi because they had never really made a supercar like this before. This was the first time people were really seeing this for the general public, and it caught a lot of people's eyes, especially mine. I loved the car when I saw it in the film, and I just thought, that is a car that I want to have. It looks so cool, and I love how Lamborghinis look. I love how Ferraris, but there's just something special. And honestly, one of the things, and I get this comment a lot, is these carbon side blades. It just sets the car apart. And you know, Lamborghinis, Ferraris, they look different, but some people even will say they look a little bit the same. This just looks different. It just sits on its own, and even though it may not look quite as exotic, some of the crazy lines like a Huracan has, it just looks different, and everybody comments about this car. When I take it anywhere, it has always got a lot of looks. Even when it was just black, it really, it was pretty incognito, but it still got a lot of attention. And now with this wrap, it's completely different. I can't drive anywhere without everybody looking, especially with the changing rainbow effect on the wrap. But really the first reason I bought it is I've just dreamed about this car forever, and I absolutely wanted to have it for a long time. And I think that was 2007, 2008, kind of when that movie came out. So it was 10 years in the making. I bought this in 2018, and honestly I never knew if I'd be able to purchase one, but my dream car was that. And I actually went to some car meets and saw the car when some richer people actually purchased it when the first cars came out, and my mind never changed on it. I always wanted this car, and it started to get a little bit more affordable over the years, and of course I ended up purchasing one. And I'm gonna make a video a little bit more about that purchasing, but I made a video a long time ago when I first bought it. But really that was the first reason. It really was the Iron Man car, and I wanted that car. Now, the second reason that I purchased this car was, as I said, I had a C6 Corvette before that, and I loved it. That was the first sports car I ever purchased, and honestly, it was a lot better than I was expecting. It was way faster than I was expecting. I had been in some Camaros, some Mustangs, but you gotta admit, 400 horsepower, 400 pound-feet of torque in that car, it's quick. And it actually had a few modifications I put on it that probably made it a little bit faster, but it was plenty quick. It was just more than I was expecting. I knew the C6s were quick, but it was even quicker than I expected, and I loved that car. Again, it was my first sports car. It was my first dipping into that world, and I got to take it to some meets, and it was in perfect shape. I truly enjoyed owning that car. But my biggest reservation was every time I kind of walked out to the car, it didn't quite pull my heart in the way that a kind of like these type of cars look. And obviously you pay for them, there's a completely different price point. But from the pure aspect of enjoying the looks of a car, because again, I think my C6 was about just as fast as this. This might be a little bit quicker because of the all-wheel drive, its ability to hook up, but I would say the C6 actually felt quicker because of all the torque it had. And it's incredible though, the difference in looks. And when I really started looking at these cars, every time I saw one, you know, my heart dropped a little bit. I really loved it. And I was like, you know, I would come out into my garage and see the C6 and I couldn't wait to drive it because I loved how it drove. I loved the power, I loved the noise, everything that it made, even the way it handled. But it just, sometimes when I walk up to the car, it just kind of, it blended in. Now, I didn't do too much crazy with it. I didn't wrap it like I did this. I did put an exhaust, which made it so much better. This car really needs an exhaust, another thing that'll make it even better. But I didn't do anything as far as aesthetically to my C6, and that probably would have helped. I could have done better than the chrome wheels. I did put better taillights on it, those eagle eye taillights. You should check that video out. That was awesome. That made a big difference, especially at night. And then also I did the ZR1 carbon fiber rear spoiler, helped a lot. The back of the car looked amazing. I did end up purchasing some carbon side skirts. I never ended up installing them on the car because I ended up purchasing this car, and so I got rid of the C6 and sold those, and I think that would have helped. But again, it came down to, you really got to buy a car that you enjoy. You don't want to please other people, and I made a video a long time ago getting a little bit into this topic, but if you're watching this video and you're looking for purchasing your first car, do not buy a car because you feel like it will please other people. This is the car you're going to pay for, that you worked hard to purchase, and that you're going to drive. And it's got to be something that you really enjoy. And I got to say, I know a modified Mustang, a modified Camaro, even just a stock C7 will outrun this car. There is no doubt about it. This car is not, it's not slow at all. People kind of get this misconception this is a slow car. It's not a slow car. It will definitely run. But in the era of cars we live today, where you have 400, 500, 600 horsepower pretty easily at a lot of these cars, it won't keep up with that type of car. But for me, that's not that important. This car will go, and it puts a smile on my face, and I get so excited to drive it because it's what fits the bill for what I was looking for. And that's really where it came down to. The C6 kind of let me down in that aspect, and this car fulfilled that. So that's really why I ended up purchasing this car, because the C6, it wasn't quite where I wanted it to be as far as the looks, and this car was. And then it's actually going to roll into the third reason that I purchased this car. And honestly, that reason is because I found, for me, almost the perfect car. There's only one thing missing on this car that I really wanted, and that was the gated manual, and they're very hard to come by. These cars aren't built in crazy numbers like a Corvette, like a Mustang, like a Camaro. Even Corvettes are less than all of those. This is by far even lower. And then the manuals is less than like 6 or 7% of them are manuals. Finding a manual gated shifter in an R8 is not easy, and you pay for it. It's a lot more expensive, which is great. They should hold their value because there's just so few of them. But the fact of the matter is that is the one option on this car that I really wanted that I wasn't able to get. But when I was looking at them, when I kind of was out searching for cars, when I had the C6 and I thought, you know, I'd love to buy an R8, I kind of got to a point where I knew I could afford one pretty easily, and they were at a price point that was, I thought, reasonably priced. I just started looking online, and I looked around, and I knew I wanted one in very good condition. I'm pretty crazy about how my cars, the conditions of them, I really like to keep them in perfect condition, so I like to buy them in that condition. That C6 that I owned, guys, that car was perfect. It was a one owner. It had like 10,000 miles when I bought it, I think 12,000 miles. This was a one owner. It had 9,000 miles when I bought the car, a little over 9,000, and it was in immaculate shape. And so I paid a little bit more for that. I paid about $79,000 for this car, but it had a lot of the upgrades. The interior was really nice. One of the other things that I guess I didn't get but wasn't perfect, or wasn't a necessity, was the carbon fiber trim in the engine bay, because that's easy to swap out. You can buy those bits. They literally screw right into place. So I can do that if I wanted to. It's not an option that I can't get down the road. But everything else was exactly what I wanted. I love the black, and I had to, the deal breaker was finding these carbon side blades. I cannot believe anybody ordered this car without those carbon side blades, but a lot of them have gray, or the craziest thing to me is the matching body color on the side blades, because then it doesn't stick out. It doesn't give it, it breaks the car up so perfectly. And having the carbon, like I said, I get so many comments because this is a massive piece of carbon. It really, really sticks out on the car, and I absolutely love it. Funny thing is when we were going up to buy this car, I saw a picture of it and I assumed it was carbon. Well, as we started looking more and more at the pictures, the way it looked, I thought for a second, it could be like a gray and not the carbon. I didn't see the weave as I started to look at it. For some reason, as I got closer and closer to the image and I blew it up, it looked less and less like carbon. I was scrambling because we were like 6 hours into our drive, our 10-hour drive, and I couldn't believe that I might have made this mistake of not getting the carbon side blade. But luckily I was able to talk to someone and they said, yes, it has the carbon side blade. So that was a must on this car, but everything came together. It was the right price. I wanted to get a little bit better of a price. They didn't work with me too much, but it was a one owner. It was extremely well taken care of. It had all of its maintenance records. That was huge. I wanted all the maintenance records. It didn't have any leaking of the dampers and the shocks, and everything just looked perfect on it. There was really no interior damage at all, especially no exterior damage. The wheels were in great shape. It just wasn't going to need anything other than some oil changes for a while. And so that kind of perfect storm is what pushed me over the edge. I was able to get a pretty reasonable offer on my C6. I think if I would have sold it private party, I would have gotten more because that car was a steal. It was just in great shape. But I was able to get a dealer to purchase it. I had that car bought out outright, took that cash, and used some more cash to purchase this car. And honestly, looking back, I definitely didn't make a mistake. Every time I get in this car, I smile, and that's what it's about, guys. Like I said, if you're looking to buy a car that really you feel good about, that you really want, and that car is this for me. It doesn't mean I'm gonna keep it forever. I've told you guys I'm definitely gonna be buying a C8 Corvette. It's gonna be my daily driver coming up, and I'm gonna be able to make a lot of cool content. And I wanna talk to you guys. I'm gonna make another video also talking about, because I was also gonna buy a C7 in the inner term, but some things have maybe changed up, and I'm gonna make a video talking about that for an update in the garage. But I just wanted to make this fun video, tell you guys why I bought that R8, and you know, update you guys. So if you have any other questions, please drop them in the comments below. I absolutely would love to answer any of them. Please follow the channel. We have tons and tons of cool stuff coming up on this R8. We're gonna go to some really cool car meets, and there are some really cool cars around. But we have some more things we're gonna do to the R8. We gotta do some wheels. We still are gonna do an exhaust on it eventually. We've just been really picky, trying to find the right exhaust for this car. So thank you guys for joining me on today's video. Again, subscribe if you would love to join our community. Like this video if you love this wrap. Please hit that like button and support us. You all take care. We'll see you next video.